Turn it down.
Turn it down.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey.
Another Thursday.
Hey. Thank you.
Hey.
Hey.
So we are super excited this week. How's your week been?
Busy. Productive, blessed. We're still here. I'm thankful. Yeah. And I got my hair done for my favorite, twist.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, so we've been trying to bring a lot of solutions. I'm here in Akron, and
I'm in Bedford, Ohio.
Represent Cuyahoga.
Hey.
So we've been trying to bring a lot of solutions. By any means, isn't only prisoner issues. We've been dealing with a lot of different things. We told everybody in the beginning of the year that we were expanding to different topics, things that affect everybody. Definitely still always doing that. So today we're really excited. We have Family Matters, which includes child support mainly. Just all of the ins and outs of child support, understanding it, the different issues people have. We've given people ample opportunity to ask questions that we have the top people that can answer those questions for everybody. So we're excited today to be joined by a lot of people. Just starting off, I think we're going to deal with the co-parenting side of not child support, the co-parenting side of parenting, which is very important.
Hey,
So we have joining us Nicole Rogers.
Hi, y'all.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm okay. How y'all doing?
Awesome.
I don't know where to start. I feel like y'all should be asking me these questions so I can answer them. But I'll start off by saying I'm 30. I got 2 children, 2 boys. I got one that will be 11 this month, and I have a 2-year-old. Like some people in my generation, I have 2 different fathers for both of my children. And learning how to co-parent was not easy at all, not even a little bit. But I think once you take away how you feel about the parent and understand that it's no longer about y'all, it's wholeheartedly about the child, which is very hard for people to grasp the concept of, then co-parenting is a complete breeze.
Yes.
A complete breeze. My first son's father, we always just had this understanding that it was always about our son. We never, like, whatever we went through within our relationship, it never affected our parenting for our son. Like, even to this day, I've had my faults and so forth, and my oldest son's father has been absolutely amazing, non-judgmental. He works with me. We work very, very well together. People always ask me, like, you still must be with him. No.
Do you have a child support order?
Yeah, now that too. In the beginning, we both, because when I tried to go sign up for food stamps, medical, or any type of assistance, they would always ask, like, where's the dad? Where's the dad? And I'm like, he right here. We need help. Two of us. We need help still. Like, yes, he's here, he's helping, but then there's me, and I need to help with my son too. So we actually went downtown, and most men don't know this. It's $110. Excuse me, $110 to go to court, and you not even filing for necessarily custody. We went down there and we got an agreement, basically a custody agreement that we split down the middle 50-50, that also included a no child support protection order on both of us. So
That was smart.
for 18 years, if you got them, I can't child support you. If I have them, you can't child support me, because at the end of the day, we supposed to be working together to take care of our child.
That's amazing. Thank you.
That's the first baby daddy. Now let me tell you.
You said you don't say baby daddy.
Well, the second one though. No, let me be. The second one is a wonderful father. Don't get me wrong, y'all. Okay, I can't take it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, when we first broke up, I was one of those people considered a super bitter baby mama. I was mad. I was angry. I was heartbroken. I was everything that they say the bitter baby mama is. I was her. It was me. For sure. It was me. And I wasn't thinking about our son. I was thinking about how to hurt him with our son. Right. And I think that's a lot of my generation, our problem. We have these kids and we use them against each other. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize how that affects the child at the end of the day. So in the beginning, I would try to keep him away from him. I didn't want to see him. No, you can't see your child. I hate you. You broke my heart. Blah, 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 blah. So forth. But again, when you take the time to stop thinking about you and him and y'all relationship or whatever y'all had, and it's not about them, it's about our child, it becomes easier. So now it's, hey, when you getting Izzy, okay, I'm getting him this day. Okay, this day. All right, well, this, and let's communicate about him. So co-parenting for me, it's the breeze, because I learned how to separate my anger and my feelings towards our relationship that we had that's no longer there, obviously. Mm-hmm. And just be great parents, because he gonna watch that. He's watching that. And I have 2 young Black men on top of that. And I have to teach them how to be in a healthy relationship. And if it doesn't work out, how to walk away from that relationship healthy without, causing problems or being angry or whatever the case may be. Because they could grow up and go through the same situation as me.
Thank you, Nicole.
So co-parenting for me. And then also, I got to say this. I don't believe in child support. I don't.
Yeah.
I believe child support is set up for failure on both behalves. Because, hear me out. I might make some people mad for this, right? But like most of the time in the city or in the area or whatever that I grew up and lived in, which is the hood, our baby daddies be street pharmacists, quote unquote, and they do what they do, right? So you go to child support and you claim you need this money, but in all actuality, that's not helping you nor him. In anything, I feel like it makes it worse for him.
So let me ask you a question. Because if that's the situation and someone decides to move out of town and you don't have an order or visitation, and
that's your fault.
Exactly.
But see, you got to keep the main thing. Are we worried about the kid, or are we worried about whose fault?
That's my point. And that brings me. So
sometimes you do have to have an order to protect the child.
That's true. That's true, because it's about the child. But at the same time, I just feel like for certain people, yes, go. You don't have a choice. You have to get child support. But for them people that they not pushing paperwork to give you that child support. You got to go to that person and have that conversation with that person to get that child support. Like,
see, and I would kind of disagree with you, because I would say that in a lot of instances, those are the people who need
I agree.
Because the thing is, it's not about you putting
But
in
how
people in the
but how
business.
can he
It's you're
pay if
not
he don't have?
handling business.
How can he
I
pay what he don't have? How can you
why
knew
doesn't he have it? Well, he should reevaluate things.
true.
Yes.
This
He should
this is
reevaluate
true.
things.
This is very
But
true.
the child is
But you
suffering.
knew
So
when
the
you laid
main thing got
down.
to be the main thing.
That's so true. But you knew when you laid down and had that baby with that man, you knew what he was doing.
But the main
And
thing is the kid,
you
right?
knew that you knew it was a possibility. You knew that it could be a consequence.
Well,
So
I'm a little confused, but
for
I'm
me,
gonna try to bring it back here because y'all
no,
know
but
I'm
this how I
confused.
feel. For me,
I'm-
I feel like
I'd
you
like to
knew that
jump in.
you
Okay,
knew he wasn't
All
gonna be
right.
able
yeah.
to. You knew he wasn't
You're
gonna
gonna
be
let
able to
Donnie.
pay child
Hold
support.
on. We got
Sorry, y'all.
somebody who can
That's
help
just
us.
how I feel. I don't feel like child support helps the father. I feel like okay, so let's
It's
just
not
say
about us. It's
Hold
about the
on,
kid.
Nicole. Hold on. Yeah.
I know, but that's my point. If you go down there and you put these papers on him, right? Let's just say he decide, okay, I'm about to go pay child support. I'm about to get my. He got all this money backed up in child support, so now he can't get a license. He can't get a job. He can't pay this. He can't do that because he got this big bill. So even if he tried to go get his life together, he still got to worry about all of this child support. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I just feel like in the long run, it don't help. It don't help. It don't help nobody, for
Let
real.
me just
And
say,
then most of the mothers are spending child support on themselves anyway, getting their hair done, getting their outfit,
I wish I had got child
going to the
support. It would have
club
been
and
real
kicking it.
nice, but that's neither here nor there.
The
I
one
just
thing
don't
that I
believe in
would kind
child
of like
support.
to
I'm
add,
going to let our other guests talk because
I'm sorry, y'all. I just don't believe in child
I
support.
think
Okay, I'm done.
it's okay.
the one thing I think that's important to kind of start off with, as far as what I've seen as an experience, is it's really important whether somebody has a child support order or not. And certainly I know that nothing in Ohio law requires people to have a child support order. So I think that was Nicole's point, and I appreciate that point. But one thing I think that it is really important is that the paternity be legally established. So Ohio allows, you could establish paternity legally. So there's you have a legal right. And I just want to jump in real quick. So there was a situation. Mom and dad lived as a family unit. Great, worked really well together. Had a child. The dad dies in a fire. They weren't married, so there's no presumption of who but he's the dad, right? No one's really disputing that. But legally, because somebody didn't go and establish paternity, so he dies. No one really understands that, there could be a derivative benefit because, the parent worked, paid into Social Security. He's cremated. Obviously, I'm giving you facts that don't happen very often, but it's a true case. So then somebody realizes, later on, well, he legally hasn't been established a father. So what we did in that situation, we convinced the father, the deceased father's parents, to give us DNA, which they didn't have to create what a profile would look like for their child. And then obviously I'm going to give you a good story, right? So we were able, it was a horrible situation, but we were able to get paternity legally established. And that child was then entitled to a benefit that their parent had earned. So whether somebody has a child support order or not, I think it's really important to let everyone know it's always good to establish a legal relationship for inheritance, in this situation for some Social Security. So we always encourage that. And that's been the affidavit acknowledging paternity has been in Ohio law since 1998.
Thank you for saying that.
And with that, it's really easy to do that because you can literally go down to the death certificate office and sign it right there. Both parents can go down there. I needed passports for all my kids, and we did. We met there and signed it, and that was that. So it is important. Actually, in more ways than one, thinking ahead, his father is actually in the military, and if it's not established, if something happens to him, then what? So yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you, Nicole. We really appreciate that.
Yes, definitely.
It's really important. It really is. But it kind of brings us into the reason that we really wanted Child Support Enforcement Agency and the Fatherhood Initiative to be here to support this type of dialogue. It's so important to put out the facts, put out the fires of the myths, and to bring, to dispel a lot of the information that's out here and help people understand. Like you said, Nicole, it's all about the kid. So if it's all about the kid, we want to make sure the kid is taken care of. And everybody's household looks different. And we have to always remember that everybody's situation is different. I'm going to, what I would like to do before we start getting into all these questions that y'all asked us to submit, we would like for our guests to explain who they are, and then we're gonna
And who they represent.
Who they represent.
Yes.
So whoever wants to start.
Okay, I'm Nicole. I'm Tamora's daughter, and I'm just here because she wanted me to be here, y'all, to tell y'all about my co-parenting.
You do good. Thank you. You really do. I'm really proud of you and the way that you and my grandsons, because those are my grandsons, including the tyrant. They're, really good, and their fathers are the B.A.M.T.N.T. They really are great men, and she's really blessed to have men who are willing to be the best dads for their sons, and I'm honored because that means that my daughter picked the right ones, and I'm thankful for that. Moving along.
So yeah, my name is Don Likes. I'm the founder and executive director of Fathers and Sons of Northeast Ohio, and part of a founding member of the Summit County Fatherhood Initiative. And one of the titles I wear is Fatherhood Advocate. And the people in the community gave me that title when they found out I'm always speaking up for the dad, right?
Yes.
And I'm comfortable with that now. Nicole, I would like to really say how much.
Is she still there?
I think she's probably still listening. Mm-hmm. Nicole, I appreciate your point of view. I appreciate you being courageous and having a broader view of what men go through. And a group of men are low-income fathers, right? So you just explained a lot of the hurdles, not only with child support, but with the whole systemic system, that some men in our communities have tremendous challenges. Most women will not see it like you, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Would also say, just be careful, because John brought out a really good point,
He did.
Establishing that paternity. But anytime.
I actually just went through that. My father just died, and I actually had to get a paper, the DNA paper, to prove I was his child because I didn't have his last name. Yeah. To be able to plan his funeral. They wouldn't even let me plan his funeral without having that piece of paper first. So I understand that.
Okay. Well, my last statement is anytime folks can get together and don't have to have a court order to be responsible parents, that's pretty cool. That's pretty mature. Mm-hmm. However, it doesn't happen a whole lot. You're a unique young lady, and with that, I'll yield the floor.
That's that Rogers.
Hey.
I'm just devil's advocate, cousin.
I'll jump in next because Don Likes mentioned my name. So I work here as an attorney for the Summit County Prosecutor's Office. I spent a large part of my career in the child support division. I'm in a different division now. But I think it's also important to point that I'm a dad. As I said before we went live, I always have told my children the best job I'll ever have in the whole world is being dad. Wouldn't trade that for anybody. And then I have a grandson now, so I've told my children, granddad's pretty good too. So we worked with Father and Sons, Man to Man, with Lisa, who's going to jump on. I guess she'll be last. And we realized, and I've always tried to argue this point, you have to have parents. No child does not deserve parents. And it's so important. However, it's companionship, it's dropping somebody off. I think it's always great. I coached a baseball team, and to see two parents there watching, I always thought those kids are really proud. I got my mom and my dad. Maybe mom and dad aren't together. Maybe they are. Maybe they're. But that's really important. And I think here in Summit County, we've taken that initiative in a lot of ways.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. So my name is Lisa Dolan. I am the outreach coordinator at Summit County Child Support. I've been in the county, this year will be 22 years. All but a year and a half was spent at child support. I did go to Jobs and Family Service for about a year and a half, but that was many years ago. I also, as my role with outreach, so I do a lot. Prior to COVID, I would go into the prisons. They would have reentry fairs so that we could go in and let inmates know what's going on, if it was child support or what kind of services and resources will be available to help them plan when they get out so that they can be successful. I also co-chair what's called the Summit County Citizen Circle. I was trained by the Ohio Department of Corrections. And Citizen Circle, the easiest explanation is a one-stop reentry shop. Again, trying to help a returning citizen be successful, reduce recidivism. I love my job because it is all about helping people.
Yes.
The biggest thing with child support is there are so many myths out there. People hear it from their neighbor, the guy in the corner, whatever. Just because you hear it there doesn't make it true. I am a big proponent of knowledge, especially the knowledge that it takes to navigate successfully through child support. Child support does not, in any way, shape, or form, have to be a bad experience. There's so many things a client can do to be proactive. Summit County, we are so forward thinking. Nicole, you mentioned, taking driver's license, doing stuff like that. That's not ever what we want to do. We send notices, we call, we do everything we possibly can to avoid enforcement. But the problem is that many people, they kind of bounce around.
I was just about to say that.
Right.
Most of the time, by the time y'all send in the notices, they've moved to a whole nother place. So they're not receiving these notices.
Well, the flip side to that is, so child support does not forward any mail. If we send something out and that person is no longer there, they've let the post office know they're not there. They put those yellow stickies on an envelope and return it to us. So now we're going to know that the person obviously didn't receive it. The problem is that many people use, let's say, an aunt's or a family member's or a friend's mailing address. Maybe they don't even have a relationship with that person anymore, but they never changed their mail. So from the child support perspective, we're going to assume they got it. We've called, maybe the number's no longer valid. We do everything we can to avoid the enforcement. When we have people call in and it's discovered that they have barriers, and it's very simple. They call in and I don't have a job, I can't pay, I lost my driver's license, not even necessarily through child support.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the clients that come to me. Because with my resource knowledge, my program of the Family Support Matters, my connection with the Citizen Circle, I really can help most people. I treat each person individually and look for options. There's standard procedure for getting your license back. But if you're talking to me, I can kind of avoid those standard procedures and see what I can do to help a person. We are just looking for the person, whether it's male or female, who's ordered to pay, to kind of step up.
I have a question.
To tell us, sure.
So when you're unable to reach them for that back pay, do they automatically take it from their federal tax refund taxes? Is that just like the next? Is that the last step?
No, there is actually a hierarchy of enforcement, which opens up when a person goes into default. Default means they are equal to or greater than 1 month's obligation behind in dollar amount, not time frame. So once that happens, they go into default and that notice is sent. And it tells all the different things we can do. We don't just, boom, do this today. Tomorrow we're going to do that, blah, blah, blah. So we take kind of one step at a time, starting with the least aggressive enforcement. It's when there's no contact with a person. All of our location devices have not worked. We have to do something because the law says, Joe owes Mary $100 a month child support. Make that happen. Like I said, you are rare. You are atypical of the people that we deal with. If everybody had parents, if all children had parents that can co-parent and put that child first, I'd be out of a job, and that would be okay. I'd find something else.
That would be nice.
Something else to do.
Again, though, what you're saying though is people who aren't handling business.
Yes.
Again, that's what you're saying is people who aren't handling business. They're bouncing around. They know. Even Nicole, for what you're saying, they might smoke that a day. They eat that a day. Their orders aren't $50, $100 a month. So, and for the parent, whether it's the father that has the kid or the mother that has the kid that has, that's almost money for the month. And that's what this is about.
What do you say? So what is somebody
it's accountability.
Fix it?
Pharmacists make a lot of money.
What do you do? What do you say to the man that's trying to fix it? That's trying to come in and fix it. What do they do? Seriously. Do they come down to the agency? What do they do?
All they have to do is call me, and I'm going to actually give everybody my direct phone number right now.
Well, let me write that down. I got a couple. I got a couple people that need you, Lisa.
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for. So it's Summit County. For everybody listening,
Summit County.
Yes.
So we have a question while Lisa's giving out her phone number.
Summit County, Ohio.
Yes,
Summit County, Colorado.
Right.
So my name is Lisa Dolan. My direct office number, 330-643-8463. Now, if you have a case in Ohio in a different county, most of the time I can at least view the case in another county, see what's going on, try to provide some suggestions for them, because all agencies do operate a little bit differently. Many of the smaller counties don't have the types of resources that are listed or that we have available. And so I try to help everyone. So yeah, they can call me.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that.
So we got a question. Do child support agencies have field agents?
There are caseworkers who are assigned a group of cases. What we have done pre-COVID is we've actually gone out to the community and set up places where people could come in, and we did it in churches, non-traditional places to get somebody to come in and feel more trustworthy towards us. So we don't have field agents, but at times we've had field offices because I think information and communication is the key. The agency, and I've seen this evolution, which is a positive one. It's important to give information to us, because we don't represent any particular individual. We sort of represent what's best for the child.
Right.
And right, that could include right sizing the order. So you used to make $75,000, and now you lost that job. The Chrysler plant, which was in Twinsburg. I remember we went up there, and they closed down. So you're making this, and you're not going to make probably that much. So we went up and here's how you fill out a request for adjustment or review of your support. So we don't have field agents, but we do have field offices pre-COVID.
Thank you.
We're very visible
Right.
in the community. We do an awful lot.
In
So
Summit County.
yes, in Summit. Yes.
Thank
Summit
you.
County.
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about John. In the past, what I know, they have went out to the library. They set up at the library with their computers. And with those little computers, they have the ability to, if I remember, give you your license back by a push of a button. I've made phone calls to child support on behalf of some dads whose income has drastically changed, right? He was a truck driver. Now he's disabled. He's not able to pay that amount of money. And the short of the conversation was, she said, Mr. Likes, you tell him I'm going to give him his license back. I'm like when? What does he have to do? She said, I'm fitting to push the button right now. I was like, wow.
Yes.
So, yeah, they do things like that. Other places, metro bus stations. See, John's forgot all that. But they go to the metro bus stations, non-traditional places, and they also go into correctional institutions to work with dads too.
That's amazing.
And a lot of our clients don't understand that we don't know when life happens to them and circumstances change.
Right.
And that's what's so important when I talk about kind of being proactive and taking a part in your case. We don't know what happens. The biggest mistake that I see is when people become incarcerated. Child support's kind of the last thing on their mind. When they're entering incarceration is when they need to be requesting their modification. Summit County, what we do, we get a report of incarcerated individuals, and we actually send, without the inmate requesting, we send the paperwork to them. But if we don't get it back, there's nothing we could do. So let's jump ahead a year, 2, 6, whatever it is. They're getting ready to come out, or they get out and they call. I was incarcerated all this time and I got all these arrears. We cannot go back and make things retroactive. Most cases, they're still going to have to pay. There have been a lot of changes in the law in the last couple of years. Many times, everybody used to always hear, if you have an arrears only case, meaning the child's over 18, or maybe for whatever reason the case stopped charging current support. Maybe at that time you had a $500 a month payment on the arrears. Well, now there's no way you can afford that. The laws change and you are able to request a modification on those arrears payments. I inform so many people of that, because the goal is also we want the non-custodial parents to be able to live, keep a roof over their head, have a car, insurance, go to work, but also take care of their child support obligation. The guidelines changed in 2019, which are so much more favorable to some of the lower income. I think and when they consider low income, I think is around $30,000 or something. So the guidelines have changed. So people should just continue to call and ask, whether it's me, your local agency, whatever. See if anything has changed. So many times they're very pleasantly surprised at the changes that have come about. And because they were told something for years, it was true for years, doesn't mean that that's how it is today.
Thank you, Lisa.
Awesome.
So we got a couple questions for y'all. Y'all ready? One of the first questions that we got when we started talking about child support, and I know I've talked to a couple people about this. So we have a gentleman who's in Cuyahoga County. He has a daughter and had a really good relationship with his daughter. and the mom moved to South Carolina, and he was continuing to visit his daughter, and no problems. Beautiful relationship with his daughter. Had a disagreement. Had a disagreement with the mom, and now the mom won't allow him to see his daughter. That's major.
Guess you want the attorney to jump in because we're shy, right?
Well,
Right.
the attorney, we got Fatherhood Initiative here too.
I think that I don't doubt that scenario, and it's enforcement of orders or parenting rights, whether it's within a state or even more complicated out, between states, or let's think if somebody moves up to Toronto, so those are difficult. The scenario happens a lot. We have to move to improve the laws so that there's more agreement between the states as it relates to enforcement of parenting time. And also, if I've seen some situations where if one parent is not allowing the other parent to visit, to have parenting time, to co-parent, as Nicole said, they will take that the child from that other parent, because that's actually damaging to the child. But that's a process that the court systems, they are the arbiters of that, and I know that has to be the most disheartening. You're doing everything, certainly you don't have a relationship with the other parent that's very good, right? But that child should be independent of that. And we just have to, one of the Ohio has a bill, House Bill 508, Equal Parenting Act, that says we're going to presume that each parent should have 50, it's a 50%, right? That's the presumption. It's not a law, but it has 61 co-sponsors in a legislature that has 99 members. So that's advocacy, Fathers and Sons of Northeast Ohio, man-to-man advocacy groups who have advocated to try to make things fair.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
So let's put that mom in jail.
You're silly. You're silly.
So do you think that it would expedite the process if he were to retain an attorney versus just going through the system itself?
There are no guarantees, but attorneys, and I always think of somebody who's not an attorney, right? The pro se. I always think of my mom and dad. They're not attorneys. They call one all the time though. But just thinking how they would work through a system. Everybody's somebody's mom or dad or son. It's just really hard to navigate. Now, I'm speaking from our Summit County experience. They actually have a pretty good program set up for pro se. Here are the forms you file. Here's how you do it. Even with an attorney, you're probably going to have, I think you are going to have to get an attorney in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, getting an attorney involved, it creates a good position because that person would be familiar with the processes in two states.
Right.
Thank you. Now, we were told that he could possibly file with the federal courts.
I don't think that's correct. I think
because
that's
of the 14th Amendment. No.
I think that the family law, which is child support, custody, and visitation, are matters of state law. And states give full faith and credit to other states' orders, but you have to go to the other state and try to get that order sort of filed there, and then have the local, county or whoever try to enforce that. But I don't think the federal courts, there's no federal statute that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank y'all. Okay. So some more questions. Can grandmothers request child support when they have the children?
Yes.
Simple. That was
You're gonna let the attorney answer. Okay, that's fine. I won't give the mic back. I don't.
he on the road now. Okay.
So basically, the answer is yes. And you could have a support order the grandmother or grandfather or uncle or aunt, and we see that, more often, could get an order against both parents. You'd
Right.
have basically
Wow.
both parents who would have to pay support to the non-parent who is the custodian at this time. So the answer is yes.
As long as they get legal custody,
Right.
though.
Legal.
You have to have legal custody, not just physical custody, meaning I dropped my child off to my parents. Wherever I vanish, whatever. If my parents did not go to the court and get legal custody, then they would not be able to have child support ordered.
Which is important to do for more than just support issues, right? Because they need medical, they need to register them for school.
Register for school, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So legal custody really kind of mandates a lot of what happens within child support.
And I see a lot of grandparents. I've been doing hair for 20 years. I see a lot of grandparents with the kids. And I encourage them to put an order on both of them. I don't care if it's your son or your daughter. If they're
Yes.
not helping you,
Yes.
get help.
You're taking
Right.
care of them.
Right.
Okay, next question, or a statement and a question, should I say? So we have a dad who dad and mom got a divorce, and was ordered to pay child support. Dad was ordered to pay child support. Child was like 8 years old at the time of the divorce. Paternity test was, determined. That was, is not his child, but he paid child support until the child was 18 years of age. Is dad legally able to get the money back from mom, or he just lost his money?
Sounds like a lawyer question.
It depends. How's that for an answer? So Ohio actually's law has changed in that over the time as well. So before, when somebody was determined to be the father, they basically there was no way out, in essence. But Ohio has allowed individuals to come back in as long as one exception would be if you signed the affidavit and you knew you weren't the father and you decided to sign it anyway. Sort of you're stopped from. But in the divorce scenario, Ohio law presumes, that the husband to be the father of the child. That presumption is just a presumption. In a divorce, there's a determination that so-and-so is born issue of the marriage. So now you have a court order. So you would have to go back into court to undo that court order. So that's not something the CSEA can do. But at one time, and actually Peter Lawson Jones, who was a state rep from Cuyahoga County, he was actually a sponsor of that legislation, which did become a law because it seemed to be, just wrong that you would, there's a legal. It's basically it's the law of the case. You're the dad. You can't undo it. So that they actually statutorily changed that, but it's going to depend on a lot of circumstances.
Thank you.
And I think a big thing to keep in mind is that, what child support can do, what they can't do. We can't disestablish paternity. A lot of people think that the issues that come with raising children, their care and maintenance, the child support, the visitation, their well-being, mental and physical, that child support can do all of that. I like to tell people, and because I like to keep things simple, child support is basically a glorified collection agency. Like I said, an order from the court or administratively said, Joe owes Mary $100, make it happen, child support. However, when we can't do the things that people think we should be able to do because it involves the child or children, we can guide them to the appropriate person, agency, whatever that can assist them. So in that gentleman's situation, he probably thought, well, we found out genetically I'm not the biological dad. I'll just call child support and I'll let them know and they'll stop it. Well, sounds good, but no, because we can't. So we would, if that was us, we would be saying, we understand, but You can go to court and get an order to stop this, and we will do what the court says. The problem that I see with a lot of our clients is they don't follow through and do the steps that are necessary.
He
to
said, "Thank you."
Oh,
Yes.
He's watching.
okay.
Yes.
To minimize, the effects of what is happening. So it takes that order. We to stop, start, or change. We're guided by orders.
Again, that comes down to that handling business.
Handle
It
it.
comes
Thank
down
you.
to that. So
Got
with that too, it leads into another question that was asked. Is there something that the general public or people can do to push to change some of these laws
Yes,
concerning child support?
it's a matter of state law. So these are all child support, parenting. It's a matter of, so they could contact our legislator. As I said, mentioned earlier, there's a Equal Parenting Act that's before the Ohio General Assembly. In 2019, as Lisa mentioned, the guidelines were changed. They actually created, for the first time in law, a parenting time adjustment. So that you could get a certain credit if the child was with you. So that's all been through advocacy. So anything that you would like to see change, contact your legislator.
No worries. We will.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
I see a question up here about how often can a modification. So typically, a party can ask for a modification once every 3 years.
3 years.
However, if there are mitigating circumstances such as a loss of income, they become disabled, incarcerated, other scenarios, they can request it prior to those 3 years. Keep in mind that child support, if you call in and you say, I would like to request a modification, you could tell your story, and I may know that, gosh, they're probably not going to qualify. We still cannot deny sending that modification. The modification itself could get denied, but we can't say, well, we're not even going to send you one because you're not going to qualify. So we will send it out, but pretty much it's the 3 year, or when they talk about a change in income, it's generally about a 30% change in income.
Thank you, Lisa. Interesting. So, just to clarify, if a judge orders child support a certain amount during a divorce, can child support come in and modify the judge's?
They can make recommendations. So if there's a change of circumstance, somebody loses their job. So there's a divorce case, you have a support order, and then somebody, the Chrysler plant closes down. In that situation, since it's a court order, the CSA would conduct a review and make a recommendation, and then somebody could object to that recommendation or not. If they don't, then the CSA would submit the sort of the new order to the court. It would still have, very good question, because that's excellent, because it's a judge, so only a judge could change order. That's true, correct, but there's a process through the CSA to get that information to the judge.
Oh, I'm speaking from experience. I paid child support. Yes. I was in the military, and my kid's father was like, every 5 months, I need more money. Okay. Anywho. The judge
I want to
said,
say thank you for your service. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
serving in the military.
Okay, so question, Lisa, this is for you, and for you, Don, and for you, John, as well. So we have gentlemen, and at least I heard you touch on this. Men who are in prison. Can you explain like this whole? We have a gentleman who's been in prison, as I think I discussed it with you, for 32 years now, and he has that child's. Well, he has an order. He said he thinks he has an order. Well, he gets paperwork from child support regularly saying you owe X amount, and he said someone was coming to the prison, and he handed it over to them, but they didn't handle it. So he's still getting notices. And I think when you and I had a conversation, for a person that has life in prison and a child support order, and there's a possibility that he might get out of prison next year, so he's going to be faced automatically with a
So there's some options, and he probably talked to, if it's been the last, I don't know, 8 years something. The state person, her name is Tiffany. She does a lot from the state office of child support dealing with the incarcerated individuals. So there still may be options. If he's been in 32 years, obviously these children are grown. There's no more current child support, anything like that. So there may be options to reduce his overall balance. If some of the money is owed to the state of Ohio and not the custodial parent, there's something called ROPA. In other words, we're trying to, let's just say he owes $20,000. 10 of it he owes to the mom, and 10,000 he owes to the state of Ohio. Due to his incarceration, if he never got it modified, which he would actually, those ages he would have not. Years ago, the mentality was, you're incarcerated, too bad, too sad, you did it to yourself, and that's just the way it is. All of that has since changed. So he probably owes, quite a bit of money. If 10,000, whatever, if something's owed to the state of Ohio, he can look to see if he can fill out the proper paperwork to have that waived or compromised. So there may be options. If it's all owed to mom, we can never go and take away something that is owed to the mother or the caretaker. So I would suggest it. You can get my number to him. If it's an Ohio case, I can at least look at it. I could also reach out to Tiffany from the state office and see if we can start being proactive to help him. The other thing is, people that are incarcerated, they have their state earnings. Child support can garnish a percentage. I think it's somewhere around maybe a quarter, 1/4 of their earnings. But a lot of people get mad about that because maybe they're earning $20 and we're taking 5. But the really good news to it is all of those payments count, even though if they haven't, let's say they haven't modified, maybe they have a $50 a month order. We're getting $5 a month. Well, the good news is, if their license had been suspended prior to incarceration, whatever, that person can get out. And because of those steady payments, that block can be removed. I do encourage incarcerated people to go ahead and request that modification, just so that they don't continue to go into arrears, because they may get an order for $7 a month, and that may be able to be withheld from their state pay. So even though it seems like a small amount, they're meeting their monthly obligation.
Thank you.
This question that's on the thing, I'm telling you, a lot of things come down to, I hear a lot of people. So I had my first kid at 15. I have 5 kids. I've dealt with child support. I have been down there and I have dropped 20,000 on, on my part as the mother. And even with that, when you're saying those numbers, 10,000 and 10,000, it was maybe hundreds that they owed the state. If I dropped 10,000 on you, you can go handle your business so you can get your license or whatever else. But this question that's on the board, my child's father is on probation for non-payment of child support. He owes a lot. LOL. From what he said, he can stay on probation until it's paid in full. Is this true?
Right.
You're gonna look at the lawyer again. All right.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I think that if somebody's convicted of, if it's a criminal conviction, then Ohio does have a criminal statute for non-support. If they're convicted of non-support, it's generally a felony of the 5th degree or 4th degree. So there would be a limit to the amount of time they could be on probation. So I don't think that's a correct statement.
So again, I think it's handling business. If you handle
Generally,
business.
about 2 years, I think, is pretty common for a person to be
And
on
probation is called community control. So
Correct.
we don't, the term is not probation, which it's community control.
control. A lot of times I see where, I don't want to ever call people liars, okay? But dad will say to mom things that aren't actually accurate, hoping mom will do something to help his situation. And moms sometimes fall prey to believing what dad said, or vice versa, instead of calling child support and finding out exactly how it should be. So I always, again, I advocate for, stepping up, find out for yourself so that you know the truth. There's 3 sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth.
So, Don, I have a question for you. Somebody was definitely asking, are there real resources for fathers? Sorry, we have you. You're muted.
So this issue about getting reductions in child support. Lisa said it's called waiver and compromise. But I'll share something that happened to us recently. A dad and a mom have children together. They got back together. He owed mom $10,000. Mom was willing to forgive that $10,000 debt because she didn't see any, it was hurting him. It was hurting their family. Wanted to clear his credit up, buy a house. And actually, they were able to do that within like a 2-week period. So if mom and dad do agree, the money that is owed to the mom is a one-time forgiveness that she can do. It's simple paperwork. Child support used to do it, but I don't think they do it anymore.
Correct.
It's called an agreed entry, and fatherhood groups can help them with that. So that's one service we have. The other one is we do help people with the paperwork to get custody and visitation. They can give us a call. I think I have my number up there. We're going to have a workshop March the 12th at the Akron Public Library, and we will walk them through the process of getting court dates so they request visitation.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Well,
So
we've
for the
got-
people who are asking, who can the dads turn to? There's the Fatherhood Initiative. There's Man-to-Man. You can always call the child support office yourself. My oldest son is 25, and I was telling you the other day, 330-643-2761. You can call them yourself. I know, just certain numbers stick with you. So,
And I want to say too that the Fathers and Sons of Northeast Ohio, Man-to-Man, they offer services to help fathers, regardless if they're in a relationship with the mom or not. That's kind of a separate thing than the child support. So I think that's important too. I know that they've helped, take your son to the zoo, take your daughter to the zoo. It's not related specifically to child support. I think that somehow always becomes it's child support. It's, there are dads, moms who could need help. Sometimes people become parents at a very young age and they need mentoring, they need guidance. And Mr. Likes, Mr. Williams, Man-to-Man, they just do an outstanding job. I've been to their meetings and I want to just say, I appreciate all that you do.
One thing I want to say about Fatherhood Initiative, I advocate for it. I really try to get my clients in that to attend. Sometimes when I say Fatherhood Initiative, they at first maybe take offense thinking I'm saying they're a bad father. Some people, that's the mindset. That is so absolutely incorrect. I tell people going to it, I'm not saying you're a bad dad. It's everybody there has something to give. Maybe you're doing things really, really well. You can kind of help the other guys. So it's nothing to do with any kind of negative connotation of you don't know how to be a dad. That is not true at all. So if anybody has that mindset, just push that away. The Fatherhood Initiatives offer so much to the men.
Thank you. Yes.
Wonderful.
They do. I hear about them all the time. So we have like 1 minute left with this segment. this is amazing. So much information. We have next Thursday coming back again, Fatherhood Initiative. Don, Mr. Likes, your phone number and your Gmail, do you want that for the public or is that just for us?
No, you can give that out to the dads.
Okay, so can we put that in the comments? That's the private chat you've been putting that in.
Oh, I got
Oh,
it. I'll switch it over.
It's
I'll
okay.
switch it over.
Thanks. Thank you. I'm like, wait a minute, this is good information over here. His phone number, he put his phone number in there. Yeah, we're definitely going to look into some information. Silk Lura said like, she couldn't remember. And then we had another person who asked a question. But we're gonna try to get some more of those questions answered next Thursday because we kind of run out of time for this week. We really appreciate every single person. I'm not 100% sure if child support will be able to join us again. That's what we're trying to make sure that y'all got it in.
Yes.
Try to. Let's see if I can.
I hope so. I really do. We really appreciate y'all. Mr. Likes, thank you so much.
You're
Nicole
welcome.
had to get off. She actually wasn't feeling very well, but she still came on the show. So I appreciate that. Next week, Mr. Frank Williams is going to be with us, and Mr. Al Grimes from Cuyahoga County Fatherhood Initiative will be joining us as well. Because we got to represent Cuyahoga County too. That's where I'm at. But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. The
Thank you
public
for having
really
us.
our communities, we need more of this. I know there's some really great resources that have been shared with me. We want to try. We did create like a little resource sheet. I'm going to share this real fast before we get off. So people, in case they want to write this information down too.
We'll share it. We'll share it on our pages also.
You want to
so
share it?
guys
On,
can
yeah,
have
we
it.
share it on our page. So they have yeah, we're gonna share this on our page.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank you all for joining us with all the information that you had. It's very helpful. Very, very, very helpful.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
helping us.
This has been amazing. Really appreciate y'all, and we look forward to seeing everyone next week. Okay. So y'all if y'all listening, if y'all watching, just make sure y'all tune in next Thursday. And don't go nowhere. Y'all don't go nowhere. Thank y'all.